is responsible for overseeing this project? Is it you or your designee?
Let me be clear. I'm not pointing fingers at Verizon. I'm trying to explain the way the site operates. We own the site. The site has had serious problems.
Who is in charge, Madam Secretary?
The person now in charge as an integrator is QSSI, one of our...
Who was in charge as it was being built?
Was in charge up till...
At that team, who is the individual?
Michelle Snyder is the...
Michelle Snyder is the one responsible for this debacle.
Well, excuse me, Congresswoman, Michelle Snyder is not responsible for the debacle. Hold me accountable for the debacle.
Okay.
I'm responsible.
That was one of the hotter moments yesterday. That was Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn challenging Secretary Sebelius on why Obamacare should be deciding which insurance plans are best for you and whether or not you should keep the plan that you're on, although everybody was told they had that option. She is the vice chair of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, and that's why she had such a prominent role there yesterday. And she joins me now, Congresswoman, back in Nashville now for Halloween and seeing the grandkids. So good to have you with us, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this: were you, when you asked those questions, who's responsible? And we heard several times Kathleen Sebelius yesterday say, I don't know, I can't answer that, I will get back to you. Can Americans count on that happening? And will we know what the answers to those questions are?
Yes, we will. We'll be able to get the answers to those questions. And Martha, one of the things that has perplexed us is how disengaged and what a lack of compassion the witnesses have seemed to show going through this entire process, all the way back to March 2011 when we started. Now, to get the answers, what we will do is this. Since we had her under oath yesterday, today she will be delivered a letter which is a clear articulation of specific items that we have requested and things that she said, I don't know, I'm going to have to follow up with you. So the committee will deliver to her a letter and say, this is what you're responsible for delivering to us, and here is the deadline. And we will get that information within the next couple of weeks. We will have the secretary back before us the first week of December as we continue conducting the oversight to find out who knew what when, where did all the money go, how much is this going to cost us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge amount of money. If you think about it in corporate terms, any company that had spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get a website running would certainly be held accountable to their shareholders, and many of them would probably lose their jobs. It would be, considered probably something that you wouldn't be able to overcome in the private sector. It appears that that's not the case in the public sector. What about this issue of what they knew and when? We didn't really get to the bottom of this. At what point did Kathleen Sebelius understand that, although they were saying October 1 we're ready to go, that was not the case? And if so, why wouldn't they have delayed? Why didn't they delay? Why didn't she go to the president and say, we need more time?
Well, and this is one of the points that we were trying to get from her, is we heard from the contractors that they told the infamous whomever at HHS, Health and Human Services, that they needed time for end-to-end testing.
Yeah.
As you heard yesterday, there was no really clearly defined person who was in charge, so therefore we think the secretary was not giving the president the amount of information he needed to implement his signature piece of legislation. So it's like they were rolling the dice and thinking, okay, maybe if we get it out there, the glitches won't be that bad. But the American public is very accustomed to shopping on aggregator websites. You've got plenty of them that are out there. And to have such an abysmal experience where they want to take all of your private information first before you can even shop, and then let you look at something, but they won't give you the price of it. I mean, this is just not what people are accustomed to.
Let's take a listen to what Kathleen Sebelius said in another moment in this hearing, and then I want to revisit it and get you to react to it after this. Let's watch.
Sir, I was informed that we were ready to launch on October 1st. The contractors who we had as our private partners told us and told this committee that they had never suggested a delay, and that is accurate. Our CMS team felt we were ready to go. I told the president that we were ready to go. Clearly, I was wrong.
How does this happen? I mean, how do you have all of these problems? And, you know, she says they were told they were ready to go, but we also heard other things from those contractors. We also heard that there were concerns, that they had never tested it end to end before, that generally they have months to run these programs before they would want to do any kind of rollout like this, much less one that's a fifth of the U.S. economy.
That's specifically right. And getting some more detail from her and from the contractors is what we will spend the next few weeks doing, because the contractors did say, they laid out for them that they needed time to do that testing. And without having somebody who was serving as the general contractor, if you will, that needed to tie all of these pieces together, basically what you have is a program-edited website, not a native programming or native coding website where everything is integrated. And no one ever tied all of those loose ends together so that when one of our constituents goes to that site to see what the cost of health care is going to be, that they could find it.
Understood.
You can't do that even today.
You know, Congresswoman, I want to get one more question in here to you, because you talked about the, you know, the red Solo cup and the crystal stem, and it is that's perhaps the bigger picture here. You've got the website mechanics, and then you've got the reality that you're going to be told what you have to buy, and chances are it's going to be more expensive than what you had before. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we are hearing it from hundreds of thousands of individuals across this country. Their insurance has been terminated, policies have been canceled. They can no longer buy what they can afford and what they want. And we live in a country where if you want to drink out of a red Solo cup, or today an orange and black Solo cup, or if you want to drink out of a crystal stem, you have the opportunity to do that. You have the freedom to choose. And I tell you what, Martha, I will always go to the mat and fight for freedom, free people, free markets. And I think for the federal government to come in and take away the choice that people have had in the health care market and say, hey, we don't like what you've been buying, we're going to make you buy this. What's the next thing going to be? You can't buy that Solo cup. You can't buy an inexpensive blouse. You can't buy a pair of shoes that cost less than another pair. So do they think that the federal government is going to become the determiner of the cost and the price and set prices of everything that you can buy at a quality point that they say is worthy? Come on. This is absolutely ridiculous. I am not going to sit here and let them get by with this. We are going to continue our oversight and holding them accountable.
All right. Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy, but the questions that you're raising are the ones that naturally people's minds go to. What's next? So we will see. Congresswoman,
that's right.
Thank you. Always good to have you with us.